Morning. This morning I'd like to talk about things more of a metaphysical type awareness. Great to see you all. Hello. Okay. So there was some couple of things on my mind as I was wondering what could I bring that would be helpful for the collective at this time to the highest degree of help that is possible or capable to be occurring in this moment. So the first thing that came up for me was that we're all rivers of energy. And how can I bring this to you in a way, I know I've said this to you before, but in a way that really shows this much more clearly. Because if we could understand this very simple teaching, this very simple experience, this very simple truth of each and every one of us, then we would understand the very simple keys that go along with releasing and freeing ourselves and accepting ourselves in a way that would clear the rest of all of reality for us. And so this is important to me. You know, the more that we understand these rivers of energy that flow through us, the more we can come into acceptance of them, acceptance of their frequency, the allowance of the flow of their frequencies. We can stop judging these frequencies in a certain manner and just really allowing the floodgates to be open for the rivers to flow completely unimpeded by what I would call an ego identity, which is simply us making agreements with ourselves that we are this and we are not that, and that we are this and that we are not that, that we are good and we are not bad, or that we are light and we are not dark, that we are happy, we are not sad, whatever it happens to be, creating a balance of polarity that has created a specific tune and uniqueness of our personal frequencies in this moment. And there's a part of ourselves that is ever expansive and is really just top-notch when it comes to the versatility of itself and its expression. And each one of us are unique in our limitlessness, so we are not all the exact same tunage. We will have our uniqueness to our expression. You know, you can see that simply in the body style, the hairstyle, the shape style, all of these things. We have our unique note to play, but we're all much more expansive than what we usually are portraying in our daily lives, consciously. And so outwardly, you know, it's not as noticeable that we are limitless. Though we are all limitless, and so there is a way to notice this limitlessness in everything that's occurring, constantly, always within the tree in front of me, within the birds and the bees that fly around, the amazing stones and dirt and sticks and leaves that blow along in the wind. We can notice their limitless expression, their amazingness, their non-separate realityness, their non-dualityness. It's amazing. And so I would like to discuss more and create perhaps a clearer picture of these rivers of energy that flow through us. These things are so phenomenal, so amazing, so gorgeous, so grand. But let's just speak about them a little bit here, intellectually, logically, in a way that perhaps the mind, the brain can understand and then bring into itself a logical understanding of something seemingly linearly. And through this understanding, the mind can start to think, get little light bulb moments and be like, I think to benefit myself, I might have to let go of myself a little bit. I might have to release myself a little bit. I may have to trust my heart a little bit and allow myself to be in a different way than what I've been holding so rigidly, and protecting myself in these ways. And so this will help the mind relax in a form or fashion that could be beneficial. Okay? Awesome. So, we're made up of little tiny strands of energy. You can see them as coming in the back of you and going out the front of you. You can see this. This is a normal flow, you know. You could also see it happening, you know, in many different ways, You could also imagine this as coming straight out from your heart in every direction. Now, that's a really expansive place, the science definition and the tarot cards I would read. Coming out from the source point, coming out from all these different points, all being held onto the tiniest point within the heart space right here. Equally balanced on that space, equally balanced. That's what we're looking for everything to be equally balanced on that tiny space in every direction, all the directions around it, everything around it entirely being the equal amount of pressure, not having more pressure over here than is what over here, then is over here, then is over here, but everything like the same weight on this tiny little point. That's what we're looking for there. That's when we're in full balance, when we're in equanimity everywhere, and that's when we can really understand enlightenment, the realization of who we truly are, liberation, completely freedom, because now we move in all directions equally. We don't have anything causing us a dualistic mindset, a balance of polarity anymore. We see everything the same, and now we're not bouncing back and forth, we're forever centered. And now that's a wonderful place to be. So these rivers of energy, perceived going in the back and out of the body and flowing. You can see it this way. This is a cool way to visualize this. This is a way that I've seen this as well. I've seen myself as clogging energies here, and then them not being able to really flow this way through me. And so when I was seeing it as this, it was obvious that anger was one of the things I'd clogged, and so I pinched the channel, pinched it. Instead of having it wide open, I had it pinched shut. And so now there's a lot of energy that wished to run through here, but was unable to run through here. Because, it was supposed to be like that, and so energy could flow through like, but instead I like dammed it up, closed it off, and so now it's really pinched and it's coming through, whatever it can, but it's very difficult. And because I'm clenching the system every time that energy does come through, because I've created the idea that I'm not this energy and I don't accept this energy, it causes a great agitation within my system. So everything's shaking. And so anytime anger would hit me, I'd become very angry because you become the expression of the energy you're clenching. And then you have to become it because it's with you for a very long time. But when it's very open, you don't even know that energy is there, and everything's moving through. You're in a completely neutral state of being. Nothing's occurring. You're like, okay, this is great. Whatever's happening, I have no idea. And while you're doing this, you see, we are amazing superconductors of energy. So, like electrical circuits in some way, except for we're like the super powerhouse. So we're like the gold atom in some way. We're the path of least resistance. Everything else, is moving energy very, very beautifully, very amazingly. But most things want to move energy through us. Most things. Trees are very great grounding stations for ourselves. We can go up to trees and we can ground our energy through the trees. And the trees will help us move energy through ourselves when we are having trouble. Move energy through ourselves. But there's also a great amount of way that we can do it ourselves. And there's all kinds of different chakra systems that we have to help us with this. When we use anything from the heart down, this is when we're going to be using more of the volatile style energy expressions, or the body movement energy expressions could be also seen as that, which it doesn't have to be volatile, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be at all. When we're in the heart, we might be dancing, moving it on in a nice dancing fashion. But when we're in the heart, we're going to use mostly every chakra system because the heart uses everything in a complete balance. So when we're down here, though, maybe we're in the root chakra realm, we might want to strike something, we might want to run away in fear, hide, close up, whatever it is, or if we're in the higher chakra system, let's see, what will we do when we're expressing energy through one of those centers? We might be creating something, we might be imagining something, we might be visualizing something. We might be, say it's a volatile expression, we're moving it through up here. We may be thinking about, hurting somebody. We're like, their mother, I can't believe them, I'm going to do this and do that, and I'm going to imagine them dying right now, or whatever it is. You can do that, And then you may actually find out that once you become more powerful in your flow, that you actually start creating reality around you in this way. So maybe you become extremely angry with somebody, and you really want to hit them, but you're in a place where you don't want to use your lower chakra centers to move energy around. So now you're just sitting there thinking about it, like, and then all of a sudden you notice that everything becomes extremely heavy in your present awareness. You notice that there's a large magnitude of energy, a very big density. The winds start kicking up. The wind starts blowing leaves in a crazy way. You start to see all kinds of different patterns in the people around you. They start to get frustrated and upset with one another, and you're wondering, and you're just thinking, yeah, of course, we're all very upset right now, that's why. And eventually that person that you wanted to get in a fight with starts to get into a fight with somebody else, and you're like, oh, this is really interesting, what's happening here? And maybe you don't even notice it because you're so much inside your field, thinking about fighting them. And then maybe you'll break off of that, come to forgiveness for that, and then realize no, love is the answer. And then it's lucky that they broke off at that exact same time and they decided not to fight, that love was the answer, or whatever it was that the commentary created in that moment for their personal reflections to see. Now that sounds crazy, I understand. It's like, oh, this is impossible, that sounds like magic, you can't control reality in that kind of a way. Well, if you're a fast spinner and your sphere lies around many spheres because you're somebody who has a certain level of realization, now you have a responsibility to be very calm, to be very in love with everything, to be able to express everything in a clear and calm fashion. Maybe you could go talk to this being. Maybe you could always remember a certain key, such as forgiveness, such as perfection, such as understanding. And through these amazing gateways that keep you in love instead of aggression or anything like that, no need to feel less or like something has harmed you in some way, because these kinds of feelings and emotions get us caught within the more volatile energy expressions. And that's okay. I mean, I'm not saying it's something that we should judge of ourselves, but it's something to be aware of. How these things can be possible when we're not moving things out in a balanced fashion because we don't know how to use our voice. Using the throat chakra is one of the greatest healers that there is. All we have to do is surrender to the heart, and then the heart will use the void in a really amazing way. The breath will guide us, and that's what's happening when we're speaking. We're using the breath. It cannot happen without the breath. You cannot make sound without air. It's not going to work. I don't care what you say. If you have no oxygen, you're not making sound. People that close up their get something clogged in their throat, you can tell by them not coughing if they're really actually choking to death, because there's no sound able to no sound can happen because there's no air passing through. Sound is reliant on the breath, and so is all movement in some way. I mean, you can move without the breath, and that's fine. But moving with the breath is something that is much more powerful, is much more magnificent. And I'd say even if you're holding your breath like I did, you're probably still somehow moving with the breath. You have plenty of oxygen inside of your system to sustain that amount of time in which you're not breathing consciously. Or you're kind of conscious though, because you're present with yourself in a way when you hold your breath, because you're trying to do something or you're doing something really. So anyways, so we have all these rivers of energy flowing through us. And these are just some of the ways that through chakra centers, you can move energy out in different volatile energy expression ways through just simply not wishing to express once you've opened your rivers in this kind of a way. And being that I've moved my rivers extremely fast, I've been able to experience these things in a heightened sense. And so I'm able to speak about these things. But these things are happening for most people in much more subtle ways than they would notice typically. And so this is where it comes into mindfulness. When we're mindful about every one of our motions, when we go into a walking meditation and we walk, and then we feel from the heel down to the toe, then we feel as the other leg lifts, and we feel every motion, we feel it as it touches the ground barely, as it becomes into the ground more. We feel it, we feel it, we feel it. We feel the motions of the hips, of the joints, we feel it, the other foot raising, we feel it to the tip of the toe, now we feel it moving. Everything, all the gears working, we feel it, we feel it, we feel it, we feel it. Oh, there we go, we're feeling. All right, we feel some more, we feel some more, and now we're good. We've felt enough. We're done with our walking meditation, and we feel all the little motions. We feel the motions of our hands, we feel the motions of our breath, feel the motions of our body. We go nice and slow, nice and easy, being very mindful with every motion that's occurring, very, very mindful, here in this present moment, not lost in our thoughts, just with every motion that we're making. Here we go, we're doing this. All right, very beautiful. There we go. Oh, nice, perfect. There we go. Oh, yes. Feeling it all. So mindfulness is about feeling. Coming into the feeling. Coming into every motion. It's like, oh yes, now I know why every piece of me is moving. I can tell the very slightest arrangement of my energy, of my molecules. I can tell the very slightest positioning of everything, and I've moved myself into a very nice balance with both of my sides, my left and my right, and this is very good. Okay. I can feel when my legs move, I can feel when my toes move, I can feel when my breath moves, and I can feel how they're connected to all the rest of the movement, and now I have this body consciousness, this mindfulness with myself and where I'm at personally, present completely with me. Now I can be very mindful with why things are occurring for me. Why did I move in this way? Why did I move in that way? What was the thought that preceded the movement, or the thought that went in alignment with the movement, that happened synchronistically at the same time simultaneously? I can see all these things. It's wonderful. And I can tell then the wisdom of all my actions. I can figure out, okay, well, I took a step back because I was done with that and I was backing out of it. I was like, okay, now into this new thing. Now, then I brought it back to this thing because I felt there was still some potency here and that I backed out prematurely. So I was like, oh, I prematurely backed out. Now I can move back into the flow, into that channel. Let's see what's going on with this. It's nice to be here within the body, feeling it, understanding it, being so clear that we can do this, because we don't have any kind of fear of any part of ourselves in any way, and so we can feel a feeling when it comes up. We can feel it, we can allow it, we can honor it, and we can move it through us, or we can decide to judge it and block it and be like, no, I'm not feeling that. And now that you're not feeling that, you are feeling that, and you're feeling that for a very long period of time until you've decided, okay, I'm going to feel it, I'm going to move it through, I'm going to express about it. Now you can feel it and move it through, and maybe you're still judging it for a little bit, but once you go up and you go to one of your friends, one of your other superconductors, who are amazingly fluid and moving energy, you can talk to them about this. And whoever it is, it doesn't matter, follow your heart. A lot of people are saying, no, don't move energy through me. And maybe, nobody's going to accept your energy, and now you have to go to a tree and you just have to express to the wind, whatever that is. And that's fine. Maybe you want to make a video. This is what I've done, at sometimes. Sometimes there's nobody to help you out, nobody to listen, nobody to help you move things, and you go to the trees and you yell at the world, and that's beautiful. All kinds of amazing things. And also coming to clearing in ourselves and coming to understanding for ourselves and resting back into wisdom of ourselves, resting back into the perfection of everything, understanding how everything is a mirror and how everything is our teacher, and how all of these things are here helping us and not against us. And so they're really providing us the expression that we need to see, not the expression that we want to see, but the expression that we need to see for our highest benefit, for our benefit, for the benefit of everything, which is ourselves, that we are not separate from in any way, that is literally our body, literally ourself. And so we have this one beautiful intention to be for all things, always and always. And we're one of those things, and we are the one that we're responsible for. And so when I say bringing you back into your body consciousness with yourself, becoming present with yourself, that's where you want to be. Once you're fully present with yourself, you can learn a lot of different things from just observing the motion of yourself, as you have all of the secrets within you, you have all of the wisdom within you, and you are naturally flowing constantly in this kind of a wisdom fashion, and you can see what happens when you become much more mindful and how your motions become, because sometimes maybe you're going to grab something and you miss it. But where were you when you were going to grab that thing? Were you there with that thing? Were you with your hand motion and grabbing it? Or were you on the next step already? Were you already thinking, okay, I grab this, and then I do this, and then, oh, I missed it. Okay, well, let me go again. And then I'll bring it over. Oh, I missed it again. Okay, now I'm going to be much more focused. I'm going to grab it now. There it is. Now I need to bring it over here. Now, it's really interesting because I've actually noticed myself do this recently. Sometimes when I'm with somebody else, I'm thinking about them, and then I'm thinking about maybe being prestigious in some way, well-balanced in what they might be perceiving me as. Or maybe I'm just thinking about going somewhere very quickly, and now I'm thinking about the next rock, or maybe I know that there's a slippery rock in front of me in the river, and I'm like, okay, so let me think about what I'm going to do on this rock, and then I slip on this rock that I'm on. I'm like, oh, no, I need to be on the step that I'm on. That would be the most easy thing for me to do. This would be the nicest thing for me to do, to be on the step that I am personally on at the time that I'm on. Then I never fall out of balance. I'm always good. I'm exactly where I'm at all the time. I'm not 2 steps ahead. I'm not 1 step behind. I'm right here. Boom. I'm not thinking about that last rock like, oh man, that rock right there, I slipped on that sucker, and now, whoa, oh no, I slipped on this one. Oh man, I can't believe that. Okay, maybe I'll just be right here, right now, Anybody in sports that's been, in an injury or something like this can typically tell you why that is. Maybe it's just simply because, the conditions were the way that they were. A lot of times you can tell that actually I was in my thoughts at that time. I was thinking about something, or I was doing something very quickly. I wasn't really present with myself in the same manner that I had been in the past, and so boom, I fell over, I wrecked it, I hurt myself, and now I may be hurt for the rest of my life, or whatever it is. Sometimes people want to be boastful and they climb a tree that breaks, and they knew they shouldn't do it, but they did it anyway. All the time you're getting promptings, and sometimes we listen to them and sometimes we don't, and these are all beautiful teachers. And I've been very fortunate to not have anything too serious occur to me. Everything's been healable. But I have noticed myself hurting myself for these kinds of reasons, and I hope that we can stop doing this. On to what we were originally on, the rivers of energy that flow through us. So say it's anger. It could also be hate. It could also be love. It could also be this, it could be that, it could be the other. I would say that every frequency entirely always stems from the center frequency of unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. It's the best to explain it this way, because unconditional love is something that is unconditionally loving to everything, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. It loves it no matter what. It doesn't have any judgment. And so every piece of itself, which it is everything entirely, loves itself. And a lot of people like to see love as a polarity. But I think this is an incorrect way to see. I believe this through my direct experience. It doesn't make any sense for me for love to be a polarity, as love is the absolute center. There is nothing opposite of love. There is no way to be on the left or the right. When you're in the dead center, that is love. It's not love way over here, it's not love way over here, but it's not love. But it's just not singularly love over here. Everything from the center point is all love. So hate is love, anger is love, sadness is love. Everything entirely is love. All of the frequencies, all of the feelings, all of the experiences. And now we are made of billions, quadrillions of tiny strands of energy, most of which that we do agree with. We are good with those things. We don't have a lot of judgment for most of these things. But there are certain root things, there are certain big things that actually extend to many channels that we lump into certain categories or groups. Like anger actually has a lot of different energies and lines attached to it. So there's a lot of different things that we can look at. But if we heal that one line, we'll heal all of those other lines. So really, we don't have to look at many other things. We don't have to go and be like, this is a slight version of this, or this is a slight version of that. No, we can find the root of it, and we can heal that within ourselves through love, through acceptance, through marrying with our shadow, these amazing shadow works, through seeing things and having forgiveness for these things, through understanding how they're perfect and how they've been helping us, and how we are the cause of these things appearing in the way that they are. And the reason they appear the way that they are is to help us come to a place where we are no longer hurting them, we are no longer destroying them, we are no longer causing them to need to be this way, because they look in these powerful ways and these strong ways and these scary ways to stop us from approaching them and attacking them and destroying them and banishing them and deleting them from our reality, because it is important that they stay here. Without these energies, we would not have the freedom of motion that we have. Without the dark, we could not have the light. Without these energies, we would not be able to be here. So we need to understand why these energies are here, and also that they are wisdom. And so right now, we may be looking at them in a way of judgment, and we may be creating them as this volatile energy expression. But the only reason they're volatile in any way is because of our lack of understanding for them, because of our closing them off from their natural flow of life. If we open them up, they have a certain vigor and assertion to themselves that is really beautiful, and really necessary in creating our perfect tune. We have amnesia, we have different tones, like song, music, that are nice. It's nice to not just have like the higher pitches, it's nice to have the lower tones. It's nice to have the full spectrum of voice occurring when you're able to sing a song, it's wonderful. You've ever heard somebody that can do the whole range? That's gorgeous, isn't it? One of the most amazing things you've ever heard in your life, surely. And that's how it is for everything entirely. All of life can really be related to music in a way that's extremely accurate in viewing it. And I really love that. From the octaves of dimensional reality, moving from this space to this space to this space, to where we can actually understand these things. And we can actually, in this lifetime, with this body, we can upgrade to the next dimension, changing the texture of our frequency, the slight shape of our frequency to a different fluidity and balance. And then we can understand what it's like to change skin, change flesh, change perceptual awareness on the bandwidth of our reality, and then be perceiving something that's just a step up, or many steps up, or many steps deep, however it is that we're relating our speed in that moment. And there are tools on this planet that can help us do this. And through these tools, we learn, if we are very mindful, the practice that we can implement here in the now moment. DMT ceremony was able to bring me into a place where I understood that these bandwidths are actually always here. And it's not just through this ceremony that it's possible. It's just simply I have a hard focus, and so I'm looking very hard at all of these things, so I'm not able to connect and see these bandwidths of energy that are constantly flowing through all the time, always. And so these things are happening whether or not ceremony is occurring. They're always coming through. There are always beings here with us, handing us amazing gifts and blessings from higher dimensional realities that are helping us move along our way, in a certain sense. And these beings, I'm not going to say are actually beings that are separate from ourselves, but simply expressions of our highest self. They are mere reflections of who we truly are on many different levels, shapes, and forms. And just really phenomenal fashions. And when we come into this reality more deeply, we understand the circuitry of the trees, of the birds, of the bees, of everything occurring around us. We can see how we are a lot more like computers in a sense, but also not very much like computers, because computers are kind of blocky in a certain sense as well. We are much more expansive in our technology. We're like the computers of like millions of years in the future, billions of years possibly. We are the highest advanced technology ever to be created. And so when we're grounding into the earth, we can actually see, if we look very closely, if we're very mindful, if we're looking at the very great details of this, feeling is huge. When you feel into something, this really allows you to understand it on such a great level. It starts to open up many different senses. It starts to open up many different parts of ourselves and allow us to really, truly connect in a huge way. So you can see, actually, as you touch your foot to something, even with shoes on, no matter what, that your energy starts to splay out of it. So the more that you stay on that one spot, the more your energy filters into the surrounding of that place. And it's just, the whole place is then downloading your energy. Every time you lift your foot and put it somewhere else, it begins again. And it begins again. If you've ever seen the movie Avatar, where they're running through the jungle at night and everything they touch is making a really beautiful color reaction, this is very true. This is something maybe different than the way that it was happening for them and the way that they were relating it, but this is something that does occur. You put your hand to something, energy begins to move out of it at about that pace. I don't know, maybe it could go more rapidly depending on how focused you were and how much your energy was booming at that moment, but it starts to go in. So you touch a tree. Now, the longer you touch the tree, the more your awareness is transferred into the tree, your energy is transferred into the tree, and you can see it as it moves through the circuitry of the tree. There's a circuitry. It's like wiring in a certain sense, but it's more of an organic nature. It has like a coating to it. You're looking at it, it's very unique to each different vessel that it's moving through. Same thing with us. We also have this type of circuitry. Our skin could glow blue. Everything could come to the surface and show you our very unique and amazing style frequency when we're at the full bandwidth of our expression. Surely this will happen again when we'll see, and we'll think of ourselves more of like alien beings, but more like alien tribal beings. And then we'll feel very strange about ourselves. Like, whoa, what's going on with this person? Why is he looking this way? Well, this person is full in their warrior expression of their tribal self, of who they really are. And they're expressing their energy so strongly that now it's showing this amazing expression on their body. One day maybe we'll do this. Maybe this is what was going on with Krishna, why he was so blue. Who knows for sure. And so, right now I do not. So anyways, so the longer you put your hands on the trees, the more it will go, and you'll be able to start feeling your awareness into it. And you're like, oh wow, as more of the tree opens up to you, because you could feel it. Literally, you're feeling it as your own body now. And so these branches open up, these branches open up. Maybe you're in a forest and you don't realize how big the tree is, and you start to feel how it's connected to many different root systems and how it's starting to open up all kinds of different awareness. You feel like places that were blind inside start to open up. You're like, oh wow, there's branches over here. I got branches over here. I got branches over there. I got that's also part of this tree over there. I had no idea. And then finally you take over the whole tree with your energy or your awareness. Not saying take it over as in like you put a virus in it and now it's yours or something, but because you've worked in harmony and love and acceptance in a really beautiful way, now you can feel it in a really amazing fashion that's honoring both it and yourself in a place of reverence. And then you start to be able to really gain a lot of downloads. There's ways to transfer files with trees. You can transfer your experience over to trees, and you can ask for them to do the same for you. Trees are happy to experience the human experience, and they're also happy to give you their experience in return. It's a really beautiful exchange program. There's a lot to be known about the circuitry of the world and how we connect to it. I remember feeling trees originally for the first time. I could feel a tree, and I could feel every tree on the entire block. Maybe it was through the mycelium network. I cannot say for sure. Maybe the root systems were simply so vast and long that they were able to connect in this way. It's amazing to feel every tree is electricity through the block. It's like, wow, I can feel their energy surging through me. And then to also be inside of a forest and realize that even though there's many trees of many different kinds, that it's all one giant being of our elders canopying us, helping us, surrendering to us, giving us most amazing, phenomenal energy. So this is beautiful to reconnect with nature, to reconnect with the cathedral of life, and really understand what's occurring through these amazing awarenesses and occurrences. We're slowing down. Maybe we feel we got to go do something over there, but man, to really learn about ourselves and to really have time to be with the beings that are in nature and everything around us is something extremely magical, something really great, really well-founded in the truth of us all, and it's really helpful in learning through observation what's going on. It can be hard for us to stare at something for too long before a thought comes up and takes us somewhere else. We get distracted so easily. But when we take real interest in ourselves and other things, we can see, oh, wow, I'm very present right now. I've just been staring at this leaf for 3 hours, and I've been completely content in this. And now whenever I get focused on something else, I can stare at that. Or maybe I'm looking at myself. Wow, this is amazing, this hand here. This is really something special. Trying to find out how it works through observing it, just looking at it. Whenever I do get in touch with myself and my body is when I can really tell I'm super present with me and that a big teaching is about to come for me in some kind of a way. And I'm so grateful for these things and how they occur. So, as we were speaking, the rivers of energy that flow through us, all of them are related to many different frequencies in many different forms. Now this video is about to cut off and be done. It always ends at 33 minutes and 22 seconds. So I would like to see if there's anything that is potent to come through at this time. Well, unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception is the key. So if we can apply unconditional love to every one of our frequencies, to every one of these rivers of energy that flow through us, we can then accept them, allow them, and we can even allow the embodiment of them, knowing that this does not make us wrong in any way, knowing that these things are beautiful, and then we can honor them fully. Thank you. Love you.